So here we are back at the winery today, and the job we're performing today is called racking. And what is racking? Racking is when, as wine sits over time, there are suspended solids in it, and these suspended solids, by the act of gravity, settle to the bottom of whatever vessel they're in. And the wine we're working with today happens to be in barrels. And so what we're going to do today is rack all the wine out of our barrels into a single tank, homogenize that wine, and put it back into the barrels. So today, as part of our racking process, once we draw all the wine together and homogenize it in a tank, we're going to introduce air into that wine through a process called aeration. And that's going to be our job today. Okay, so here we are, moving along in the racking process. We've got all the wine in the tank behind me. When we start this process, we want to look to see how much air is actually in the wine. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this device. It's called a dissolved oxygen meter. It has a probe that we drop down inside the tank, and it'll actually tell us in parts per million how much oxygen is actually dissolved in the liquid. So what we're going to do is we're going to check to see how much air we put into this wine as we move forward, because we don't want to exceed a certain amount. So we'll go ahead and dive into that right now. So I've just come down from the top of the tank where I used the dissolved oxygen meter I described previously, and I got my reading, and I got a reading of 4 parts per million. Well, what's that mean? Well, a wine is saturated with air when it has about 8 parts per million, so we're about halfway there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn on my pump that I set up for my circulation loop, and I'm also going to hook up an air injection line into that loop with compressed air. And I'm going to let the wine circulate for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to introduce small bubbles inside of that circulation loop. And what they'll do is they'll help stabilize the color, they'll help bring out the aromatics, they'll help the wine smell as good as it possibly can. So here we are at the end of the process. We've circulated the wine, we've injected the compressed air as we spoke about, and we're evaluating our end result. And for those of you who know wine, this is our Estate Petit Syrah, and you can tell from its inky black character. I think we were where we want to be. We've introduced the air we want to introduce. We're going to put the wine back to barrel with that small amount of air to help that wine evolve along its pathway as it heads down for the next year until our next racking, which will be in about 3 months. So thanks for enjoying this process with us.